Hello, welcome. This video is going to go over the Unit 5 test review. Um, Look at number 1. We're asked to find the key features and sketch the graph. So number 1 says f of x equals x squared minus 8x plus 15. A equals 1. B equals negative 8. And C equals 15. Now the direction of opening is that this opens up. We see that a is 1, and because a is 1 is positive, then it opens up. The y-intercept is easiest found from standard form, and it's simply 0, c, 0, c when you're in standard form, which is in this case 0, 15. And the vertex, we can calculate. It's a little bit harder to find than the y-intercept. It's x equals negative b over 2a. And in this case, negative b is negative 8, so it's the negative of negative 8, should make it positive 8, over 2a, and a is 1. So we have 8 divided by 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So the x-coordinate of our vertex is 4. And to get the y-coordinate, we plug it back into the equation at 4. So I say x squared, but instead of x, we put 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 15. And 4 squared is 16 minus 32 plus 15. If you plug all of that into your calculator, you find that y it ends up being negative 1. And so the vertex is at 4, negative 1. Is this a maximum or a minimum? Now, it's sometimes useful just to draw a quick little sketch. If it opens up, that means it's going to have a lowest point, but it will not have any highest points because the arrows on the end of this parabola mean it continues to go up. So there's not going to be a largest point, but there is a smallest point, and so we would say it has a minimum. And the minimum value is y is equal to negative 1. That's the minimum. The axis of symmetry is x equal to the y-coordinate, or I'm sorry, the x-coordinate of the vertex, which is x equals 4. The domain of all parabolas is from negative infinity to positive infinity. And the range goes from the y value of the vertex, negative 1, up to positive infinity. And now if we want to graph this, we might start by looking at the vertex. So there's 4, negative 1. And then we'll graph our axis of symmetry. Let's go ahead and label both of those points. This is 4, negative 1. And then we can just draw a quick sketch. We don't have a lot of points to go off in this case, but it's going to look something like that. I don't know if the left, let's change that. Look something like that. It's still a little messy, but. And then our axis of symmetry, we'll go ahead and label that. That's x equals 4. And that's what this one would look like. Let's look at number 2. So in this case, we've got a is equal to negative 1. The number that comes in front of this whole thing is, there's no number there, but we can understand because of the negative that it's negative 1. And then p equals negative 4. Remember that x plus 4 can be rewritten as x minus negative 4. And then q is x minus 2, so q is 2. The direction of opening, it opens down because a equals -1, and that's negative, so it opens down. The x-intercepts are at -4, comma 0 and 2, comma 0. Remember that the factored form is the easiest thing to use to get the x-intercepts. Our y-intercept always happens when x equals 0. So we'll put 0 in for x, and then we just have to find what value of y goes with that. Y equals -0 plus 4 and 0 minus 2. We have taken 0 from this x equals 0 and put it in for x up here and here into the equation. Now we're going to evaluate that and see what we get. So we got -0 plus 4 is just 4, and 0 minus 2 is -2, and a negative times the 4 is -4 times -2 is +8, and so our y-intercept is at 0, comma 8. Now for our vertex, when you have it in factored form, you found the two x-intercepts, so you take those values of p and q and you average them. So the vertex x is p plus q divided by 2. So we're going to take -4 plus 2 divide by 2. -4 plus 2 is -2 divided by 2, and that's -1. So our x-coordinate is -1. And then to get the y-coordinate, same thing. You just plug that -1 back into the equation. So we've got negative of -1 plus 4 and -1 minus 2. And we've got the negative out in front. -1 plus 4 is 3, and -1 minus 2 is -3. So the negative times the 3 is -3, and -3 times -3 is +9. And so our vertex is at -1, 9. We'll look back at this. It opens down, so we can sketch a quick graph. It looks something like that. So it's going to have a highest point, which means it has a maximum. Its maximum value would be y is equal to 9 from our vertex. Its axis of symmetry is x equals -1. Domain is always -infinity to +infinity. And the range, since it opens down, the lowest point, there is no lowest point. So we go from -infinity all the way up to the highest value, which we've already said is y equals 9. So we go up to 9, and we stop there. Now we want to graph what we know so far here. We've got -1, 9. -1, 9 is this point right up here. I'm going to label that -1, 9. Our axis of symmetry is x equals -1. I'm going to label that too. X equals -1. And our y-intercept is at 0, 8. So 0, 8 is right here. Well, let's label that as well. That's the point 0, comma 8. But because of the axis of symmetry, I can look over. It's 1 unit from the axis of symmetry. I go 1 unit over to the other side, and there's another point there. Our x-intercepts are at -4, 0, and 2, 0. So label those -4, 0, and 2, 0. -4, comma 0, and 2, comma 0. And I think I've got enough points here to make a graph. So it's going to look something like that. And then something like this. So that's what the graph looks like in this case. And I'll see you in the next video.